Gary Johnson with us, a Libertarian Party candidate for president. On the ballot in all 50 states like the other two people we keep hearing about. And let us go to Lori in Hollywood, California. Hello, Lori.
Hey, Mr. Johnson, you don't have my support this time around because I do support President Obama, but I know a lot of young people that I work with, that, I'm friends with, and they all support Ron Paul. And ever since I've heard you on Alan's show, I've been trying to convince them to support you because I know they support gay marriage, they support a woman's right to choose, and I try and tell them then Ron Paul isn't for you. Now, if you like legalization of marijuana, you're their guy.
Well, that's the civil liberties side of this, yeah, and the drug wars, marriage equality, and then there is the other side, which is balancing the budget and taking on the entitlements. If we don't fix this stuff, we're going to find ourselves, I think, without a country. We're going to find ourselves in the midst of a monetary collapse. The fact that our dollars aren't going to be worth anything because of the ensuing inflation that's going to go along with this printing and borrowing of 43 cents out of every dollar that we're spending. Anyway, Lori, thanks.
Well, and because of your civil liberties stance, I would listen to you. As a liberal, I would listen to the other things.
Well, why? Now, I'm a liberal, you're a liberal, but you would not vote for Gary Johnson.
Not this time. I'm an Obama supporter, but I was a Ross Perot voter and supporter, and I did not like Clinton. So, I'm an independent, and that's what I describe myself as. But as soon as you tell me you're not for a woman's right to choose, then you've lost me.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Appreciate it. We're at 877-4-ALLEN, 877-367-2526. Speaking of the drug issue, as you know, Governor Cuomo in New York has decided he'd like to decriminalize.
Yeah, that's a great step. Great step. But just go the next step, which is to legalize it. And
people confuse decriminalization with legalization. They're not the same thing.
Well, I think decriminalization turns its back on more than half of the problem, which is the fact that you got to buy it. So you decriminalize it and you make it easy, or you decriminalize it. You can possess it, you can use it, but now you have to buy it. So law enforcement just kind of redirects all their efforts to those that are selling it.
What Cuomo's doing is not really enough.
It's not enough, but it's a great step. It's a great step. It gets people further talking about this. It really, we're at a tipping point on this issue nationally, and this is going to help do that.
Well, as we're at a tipping point, certainly with gay marriage as well.
Yes.
That seems to. We have to have the president come out for that. To have a governor of New York, one of the top 50 states. I kid because I'm a New Yorker, but I mean it is obviously people look to New York to see what New York does. That we're at a tipping point with so many of these social issues. It seems that's going to help someone like you and your beliefs, and help advance the libertarian cause.
Well, I do believe that, and I do think that you got to couple that with the other side of this too, which is the dollars and cents part of the equation. And I don't know how well Obama really does on civil liberties. He's okay, but I think I do better.
Gitmo's still open. We still have the Patriot Act. We still have a war in Afghanistan.
Well, the National Defense Authorization Act was signed, allowing for endless detainment of you or I if we're arrested for no reason.
How much could a libertarian in the White House do? Let's say lightning strikes. You become the president, and you've got a Republican House, a Democratic Senate, or vice versa.
I love the notion. I mean, I love the notion of challenging the Democrats to repeal the Patriot Act, challenging the Democrats when it comes to marriage equality, challenging Democrats on drug reform, ending the drug war, getting out of Afghanistan. Let's not bomb Iran, and then challenging Republicans on come on, get some starch, and let's slash spending. Let's save the country when it comes to dollars and cents.
Who would be affected by your financial reforms?
Well,
how would people's lives change? How would the poorest people? How would the poorest people among us? How would their lives change?
I think we all change. I think we all sacrifice. To say otherwise would that's ignoring the problem. To say otherwise is to stick your head in the sand and wake up tomorrow. And it is going to be just tomorrow that we're in the midst of a monetary collapse.
You think we're about to collapse?
Well, look. we cannot escape the mathematics of continuing to borrow and spend money to the tune of 43 cents out of every dollar that we are spending. There's a consequence to that. And maybe I said this before when I was on your show. The government is not going to announce, hey, there's going to be a monetary collapse 2 weeks from Thursday. Go and spend all your money because come 2 weeks from Thursday, your money won't be worth a thing. They don't do that. It just happens.
And you expect that will happen?
Well, there is no escaping this mathematics. I mean, these mathematics, we're 6 years away from being at 160% of debt to GDP, which is Greece, and
we really. I mean, we're a capitalist nation. We're not Greece. We're not a socialist country. There's still entrepreneurship in this country. How can we be anywhere near where Greece is? We've got lower interest rates. I mean, it's not at all like Greece, is it?
Well, when you look at the entitlements, when you look at Medicaid, Medicare, it's not sustainable. We can't continue to have something for nothing, and they have to be fixed.
How is that a third rail in politics, though, to say?
Absolutely, it's a third, but it's a
can
third
you get
rail that I
elected
think
saying that stuff. Though?
Well, to get elected telling the truth. I mean, it's the truth.
No, can you get elected? Let's say it is the truth.
They
say, what do they say? A politician makes a mistake when he tells the truth.
Well, this is the grand experiment. Somebody's got to be telling the truth in this whole process.
But if you talk about Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, I mean, it's that old Tea Party joke.
Everybody knows it, though.
Don't take away. I hate the government, but don't take away my Medicare and Medicaid. Get the government out of my health care, but don't take away my Medicare.
So let's come together here, mutual sacrifice, and let's save the country for our kids, if you will. And by the way, this is not a debt we're handing off to our kids or our grandkids. It's here. It's now. It's got to be dealt with now. We've done it to ourselves.
We are at 877-4-ALLEN, 877-367-2526 for Gary Johnson, Libertarian presidential nominee. Who will be your running mate?
Jim Gray.
We don't know much about him.
Well, so a Superior Court judge, California, retired, also a former federal prosecutor, very outspoken regarding the war on drugs, and was actually a Libertarian candidate for Senate in California.
How
very
was he
well
chosen?
spoken.
Did you choose him, or is it done differently in the Libertarian Party?
Well, Libertarian Party chooses, but that was my recommendation, and they took my recommendation.
What does he bring to the table?
Just a really solid guy. The whole notion of one heartbeat away from the president. I mean, I'm believing that there is a chance that I would actually be president, and so I'm taking this really seriously. And this is a guy
what are the
who can do that.
I mean, certainly, obviously, people will look at this and say, all right, pipe dream, come on, third party, never happened. How do you combat the raised eyebrows? All right, nice pipe dream, Don Quixote, tilting into windmills. Well, you obviously believe you got a shot, or you wouldn't be doing that.
Well, right, and I am still tilting at the windmills, right? I'm still out here tilting at windmills.
Is that? Are you tilting at windmills? Are you Don Quixote running for president?
No, well, maybe so if I wasn't telling the truth, and I am operating under that premise that look, call me up tonight and tell me something that I'm stating wrong, and if I am and you point it out, I'll sure change it.
All right, I don't think anybody's saying you're not telling the truth. The question is, can you surmount and overcome an incumbent president who's raising millions and millions of dollars, Mitt Romney, millions and millions of dollars, name recognition. You've only got a few months before the election.
I got a fraction of a cent compared to their dollars.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's the relative
but
amount of money
they've got
here.
money, they got name recognition,
Yeah.
They've got the mojo going. It's going to be Romney or Obama, according to most people in this country. How do you
now you're
happen?
back to the 15%. Now you're back to the pie in the sky scenario that potentially I get on that debate stage, and if that happens, anything can happen. I mean, that can move both directions, as I said before.
This is the whole. We've talked about this before. Your strategy is get in the debate. If you get in the debate, you become a contender, and you think you can rise beyond the 15% and convince the American people. But you have to get in the debate.
Yeah, that's the possibility.
And that's what happened in the Republican contest. You couldn't get in those debates
enough
to make a difference.
Well, and I couldn't get in the debates because I wasn't in the polls that determined who got in the debates, which was really unfair. I mean, just no matter how you cut it.
Are you done with the Republican Party for good?
Yeah. Well, I am. I intend to. Back to what Ron Paul had to say. I think this is the fastest growing segment of American politics today. The libertarian-leaning, libertarian. Nobody seems to shy away from the moniker, and it's for a reason. I mean, it's really well-founded, well-grounded.
And yet libertarians have not been elected in lower offices where you would expect you would have a grassroots growing of a party from local offices. We haven't seen that.
Well, and so it works both directions.